Today is the anniversary of 9/11. It is estimated that around 3,000 people ended up dying that day. Unforgettable event. Like, if you watch footage, if you were there, if you were alive, you witnessed it as it was happening, it sticks in your mind forever. 3,000 people dead from something so horrible. Imagine that happening 60 times. You would want to prevent something like that, right? That's the death toll from the coronavirus in the United States. All you have to do is look at the response from other countries, how competent they were, how effective they were, how quick they were to act, because they listened to scientists. They didn't downplay it. They didn't dismiss it. They didn't say it was a Democrat hoax. Those countries, Canada, Japan, Germany, Spain, South Korea, even Italy, are pretty much like back to normal. They're opened up. But that's not the case in the United States. As early as February 7th, Trump knew about the dangers. Trump knew the dangers that COVID-19 possessed. Talking about you can get it from other people breathing. It's airborne. Something like that is really contagious. He was even spooked about it. It didn't take him until a little over a month later to actually do anything. Meanwhile, several other countries, they acted a little quicker. As it currently stands, around 192,000 people are dead. We all watched this play out. Trump knew about this as far back as February 7th. He knew about the dangers of COVID-19, and he didn't act quick enough. He said he didn't want to cause a panic. He didn't want to create a panic. He admitted it in a news conference. So basically, he chickened out. He wanted to disrupt the markets. That's what he meant by refusing to... He just didn't want to incite a panic. Meanwhile, this is the guy... This is the guy who regularly incites panic. His inflammatory advertisements, going after Antifa, radical communists, and the Democrats as if they're all intertwined, attacking Joe Biden as if Joe Biden is some sort of radical lefty. I wish. No, he didn't want to incite panic in the markets because he wants to be part of the big boy club. He never wanted to drain the swamp. He is the swamp. He's always wanted to be the swamp. His cabinet has more billionaires in it than any other president in history. It wasn't until a little over a month later, after Trump realized the dangers that COVID-19 possessed. And by the time he actually acted, which was slow churning, a couple bans here and there, other countries were jumping all over it. But Trump was far more concerned with his image, as he always is, and the pockets of a bunch of rich cocksuckers than the lives of American people. And the economy crashed anyway. The stock market crashed. Sure, stocks rebounded, but the economy is still in utter shambles. And still nothing's been done about it. Trump oversaw the single biggest transfer of wealth in the history of our country. Thanks, Congress. Trump is the swamp. I really don't know how to make it clearer. Like, if you're a Trump supporter, how could anyone possibly make it any clearer that Trump doesn't give a single fuck about you, doesn't give a single fuck about me, doesn't give a single fuck about anyone? He just wants to look cool. He wants to feed his ego, even if it means that more people have died under his watch than over 60 9/11s. And he could have acted sooner. He could have grew a pair of balls and actually done something that would have prevented the needless death of 192,000 people and climbing. What those tapes reveal, and Trump just admitting it like outright, play it down, call it a Democrat hoax, as he did, it's because he's not a leader. This isn't leadership. He doesn't know how to lead. He can't even read. And in an interview, he admitted it. No, I downplayed this. I didn't want to cause a panic. A lot of people say Bob Woodward should have released all this a lot sooner. Thought about that a lot. If it was released early on, like most things, like most books, most bombshells, more than likely it would have been ignored, just slipped under the radar, like everything else, because the public is so jaded from revelations from inside the Trump administration. Like, as if the Axios interview wasn't enough. Well, we need to remember, Trump wasn't the only one that knew. Everyone around him had to know too. It's funny. Tucker Carlson made a segment chastising senators, representatives here and there, who knew early on about the dangers of COVID-19, had insider knowledge, and they dumped their stocks. They cashed out before the big market crash. I wonder if these same conservatives are going to say the same thing about Trump. But we all knew. We all knew that he knew. He's the fucking president. How could he not know? This will go down as the single biggest failure of any president in history. At least modern history, maybe. The only things I think I can compare to it is Bush's Iraq War, which were still there, and easily 500,000 people there needlessly killed. Maybe you could also look at the way Lyndon B. Johnson handled Vietnam. You put that out there too. I don't know. If deaths keep rising from COVID-19, a lot of this could be put on Trump. South Korea, Japan, Germany, Spain, Canada, they knew what to do. The left was screaming early on what to do about it. Even France, notorious for the yellow vest protests, even their government understands, hey, we need to take care of our people. We need to make sure that they're paid. We need to make sure, in all these countries, the unemployment rate hasn't even gone, I know Germany for sure hasn't gone above 5%. What makes us, what put Trump aside, when it comes to Congress, we can't even bail out the working class. The left was also saying, freeze rent, freeze mortgages. If we would have, 1, temporarily nationalized wages, 2, implemented a national lockdown, 3, waived all health care fees for anyone infected with COVID, and 4, provide stimulus to the working class instead of bailing out giant corporations to the tune of trillions, no strings attached, America would probably be opened up by now. Probably back to normal. But we didn't do that. Because instead of listening to the scientists like these other countries did, Trump decided to listen to his economic advisors. Oh, hey, give us a bunch of money. That'll solve it. Another thing Trump admitted, he doesn't take responsibility for anything. And that couldn't be more true. He blamed anybody and everybody under the sun. It's gotten so bad that Trump can't even keep up with his own lies. Trump never cared about quelling the virus. He just wanted to, sweep it under the rug and just keep on hammering away at that. He knew from the beginning, and he didn't act. He said all along, oh, it's like a miracle, it'll go away. It hasn't gone away. 7 months later, it's still here. It's still killing people. How long are his supporters going to just ignore his bullshit? It never ceases to amaze me just how ignorant people are of his obvious lies and bullshit. What is he running on? And people want to give him a fucking second term? For what? I'm no fan of Joe Biden or Kamala Harris, but I think it's clear that allowing 4 more years of this shit is unconscionable. There's absolutely no worth in putting a vote towards Trump. I really do not know how to ham-fist it any more than I could. I'd have to sit and just write it all out, but it'd probably take me days. There is zero reason to give this failure, this colossal embarrassment, this egotistical narcissist, this fucking international embarrassment, a second term. Even if that means voting blue, especially if you're in a swing state. A vote for Trump is indefensible, an outright rejection of reality. You're trapped in a cult. You've fallen for the propaganda. And when you really put this disaster into perspective, how many lives were needlessly cut short, all because the Trump administration had their thumbs up their asses, had no idea what they were doing. And the whole political sphere, going back and forth, dismissing the urgency, rejecting any advocacy for real help to the working class. It highlights just another gaping issue when it comes to discourse in politics in America today. Because conservatives don't give a shit about people either. Trump doesn't give a fuck about you. Trump doesn't give a fuck about me. Neither do conservatives. They just want to play for the fucking team. Just like what I talked about in my last video. Who cares about facts? Sacrifice yourself for the economy. Why prioritize your life when you can just make sure that the rich people stay rich? You know, don't want to hurt their feelings. So we should all just die to, save them the mental strain of seeing their numbers on a fucking screen decrease, seeing their numbers on a paper decrease by just a little bit, The Dow Jones, the NASDAQ, it's just an index of rich people's feelings. It's not a reflection of the economy. Another 4 years of this, I don't think America is salvageable. I haven't even gotten into Trump's assault on the rights. I can go on and on, but I won't. I'll cut this off here. Be sure to give me a like, comment. Please let me know your thoughts down below. Subscribe and hit the bell so you get notified for new videos. Follow me on Twitter at StatelessPatriot2. You should be fine. You should find it Stateless Patriot. I'll see you guys in the next video. I got some more on the way.